Hello, it's me again. It's Joanne. So look, as I was uploading the previous video, I discovered that there was news article after news article after news article that stated that Gymnastics Australia had issued an apology. So this is from the Brisbane Times. I have found it in the Australian, news.com.au, the Sydney Herald. So all the papers are reporting that there's been an apology. So this is what it says. Gymnastics Australia unreservedly apologises to all athletes and family members who have experienced any form of abuse participating in the sport. We also thank the athletes and other community members who engaged in the review process and acknowledge their bravery in doing so. The report is confronting, identifying systemic issues that affect athlete experience and well-being at all levels of sport, including a focus on winning at all costs, silencing the athlete's voice, an unhealthy focus on the ideal body, particularly for young females, and acceptance of archaic and authoritarian coaching practices. The report also references experiences from members and the gymnastics community of abuse that are deeply concerning. There are 231,000 athletes involved in gymnastics in Australia. About 77% are female, 91% of those are under the age of 12. Okay, and then but this article concludes by saying the Commission conducted 47 interviews with 57 participants, including current, former athletes, their families, staff, coaches, and administrators. It received 138 written submissions. So there's been a lot of stuff, like racehorses get treated business. Commissioner Jenkins said that there's a spotlight on human rights of athletes around the world. Many lessons of this review are critical to all sports in Australia. This is the opportunity for gymnastics in Australia to lead the way on child safety and gender equality. So it's very interesting, and there's all sorts of stories. There's some very horrifying stories that's in this article. So it says the first time I was called fat at the AIS, I was 11 years old, weighed 22 kilograms. There was another girl in my group who was called fat at 9 years and weighed 18 kilos. Then there was physical abuse. When they stretched this, the rules were, if you cried, the stretching would last longer and it would be more painful, says a former gymnast. I had a grown adult with all of their weight on my kneecaps while my heels were placed on an object 30 to 50 centimetres tall for a minute on a daily basis. The coach stretched me to the point that I wanted to die. These are babies. Signs of pubertal growth were considered a failure to control body weight, says one. I sometimes got mum to wrap me in Glad Wrap to make me sweat more, says another. And then someone else says her coach would get excited. I could feel him pushing repeatedly on my hips or back while grunting and sighing. It's quite gross. Really, really gross. So, and the other thing is, the other reports are saying that Gymnastics Australia is going to go through and implement all the recommendations. So I think that's very, very, very good. They need to implement all the findings. So there were 12. They've got to understand that. It used to just bother me with the stretching and the kids crying out, and I hated it. So anyway, what did you think of the apology? So that's basically what all the articles are just reading. I'm just pulling up the Guardian at the moment. To see. So here, here's a little bit more of the statement. I've been trying to find the actual statement from Gymnastics Australia, and I haven't. So this looks like The national body will adopt all 12 recommendations, and its integrity committee, which was set up last year, will oversee the implementation. While important work has been undertaken in recent years to improve policies, education, and support mechanisms for athletes and coaches across child safety and athlete wellbeing, there is clearly more to be done. The Gymnastics Australia Board and Management acknowledge this work needs to be underpinned by a transformational culture change across all levels of gymnastics in Australia. Correct. It's about changing culture. And it's a very hard thing to do when the institute, when there is, when things have been passed down from generation to generation, usually you're taught by a coach, and that coach teaches you the way that they were taught. That coach teaches you the way that they were taught, that et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah. So what do you think about their apology? And do you think that there can be transformational change? It's going to be very interesting. So tell me what you think in the comments below.